Hello, everybody. It's always so good to be able to get together and share some thoughts with you. Today, I wanted to share some thoughts on the feast of the Ascension of our Lord. The Feast of the Ascension is not something that we easily can figure out how that relates to us. Some of the feasts of Jesus are pretty obvious. Jesus' birth, his suffering, his death, the resurrection, we can see a connection. But how the ascension of Jesus really connects with our lives sometimes isn't that immediately apparent. So, let me tell a couple stories that maybe in some way will help us to make a connection with the ascension of Jesus. Just outside of Jerusalem, there is a large rock, and it's called the Rock of the Ascension, because purportedly this is where Jesus was standing when he ascended into heaven. Now, if you want to go further, you can Google it, Rock of the Ascension, and you get all kinds of material. Anyway, this is this Rock of the Ascension outside of Jerusalem. There is a woman by the name of Catherine de Hewick Doherty. She and her husband, Eddie Doherty, in the 50s and 60s, had a center in Combermere, Ontario, called Madonna House, where people would come together and pray and then go forth and do works of service. Catherine de Hewick was born in Russia. Her father was the Russian ambassador to Egypt, so she basically grew up in Egypt. And Catherine said that on numerous times, her family would go from wherever the city in Egypt was, and they would go to Jerusalem to visit the holy sites there. One of the occasions, she writes in her autobiography, they went to this Rock of the Ascension. And this is what she writes. One day, my parents took me to the Rock of the Ascension, the place near Jerusalem from which Jesus rose into heaven. I loved to look at that rock because it showed the imprints of a person who was standing on his toes, on one foot while the other was flat. I had one ambition, to put my feet into the imprints of the feet of Christ. But that was a bit difficult because they had the area cordoned off. But what's a rope to a little girl? So one day, I just slid under that rope while everybody was praying and put my little feet into those imprints, one up, one down. Suddenly, people started screaming, "Look what she's doing! Blasphemy, blasphemy, get her out of there!" A Russian priest came out and said, "Let the little children come to me." Have you forgotten that? Then he helped me put my feet into those imprints of the feet of Jesus. And then he escorted me out of there. Walking in the footsteps of Jesus. That really is what ascension is about. In 16th century England, being Roman Catholic was dangerous. The religion was illegal, and if one were caught practicing the faith or in any way supporting it, one could be arrested. And such was the case of a woman by the name of Margaret Clitheroe. Margaret was a young English woman, 31 years of age, married with a daughter, Anne, 12 years of age. Margaret Clitheroe was arrested because it was alleged she had allowed a priest to celebrate Mass in her home. She was arrested, convicted, and condemned to die. On the night before she was executed, she told her jailers she had but one request. She asked that her shoes be given to her daughter Anne. Walking in the footsteps of Jesus. The message of the Ascension is pretty straightforward and pretty direct, I think, for all of us. Jesus places this world in our hands, and Jesus puts his sandals on our feet that we might walk in his footsteps. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching, and Easter blessings and peace be with you all. Thank you.